It's Air Canada, a Boeing 787, and one of the longest trips you can take, in this case all the way from Vancouver down to Sydney. And I'm going to be doing it in economy. Premium economy, but still the relatively cheap seats. 15.5 hours, 7,700 miles, or 12,500 kilometres in new money. I was a glutton for punishment and actually started this flight in Dublin at 10 in the morning, landing in Vancouver at midday after a mere 8-hour hop over the Arctic, and then with a few hours to stop over, took the airport train downtown into Vancouver to check out the steam clock and the metro from the waterfront with its lovely seaplanes. Leaving the vast oil painting that's Vancouver, it was time to head to the airport. Now, almost all COVID restrictions are over. However, even in transit, you have here to take the lottery of random PCR testing for the fully vaccinated, and a positive result means being locked up for 10 days, even if it's just a former infection.
The next station is Terminus Station, YVR Airport.
1 in 20 passengers is being hit with this, meaning a transit through Canada is a huge lottery. However, the metro is fast, efficient, and in glorious hot autumn sunshine, with just a brief walk to the international terminal. It's a vast, empty terminal, but as I trotted up to check in for my second long-haul flight of the day, I was warned that my flight was likely to be delayed. Now, considering we were due to take off around midnight, that really wasn't good news, but it gave me a chance to wander around the big, long terminal in bright sunshine, looking at the large number of aircraft around the world that had popped in, and I also found the perfect way of combating the ziggurat of life, looking at some of Canada's famous modern art, which is dotted around the terminal. After that trauma, there was a calming stream that ran through the centre of the terminal, and which seems to want to make every passenger run for the bathroom every 5 minutes. Now, premium economy doesn't give you access to the lounges, and neither does Virgin Australia Velocity Gold. But I had a couple of different Star Alliance Gold cards of my peripatetic travels around the globe, and that got me into the Air Canada Maple Leaf Lounge. The new Maple Leaf Lounge at Vancouver Airport is a delight. Straight after reception, there's a large Air Canada logo cut out of pine slats into the wall. It's a large, light, bright lounge with a great view over the runway. It was refurnished a few years ago, and so is one of the new style lounges, a vast improvement over the old lounge. The bar is in a dominant position ahead of you, just as it should be. And just look at that cocktail list. The bar has seats along its length and wrapped around the sides, which are arranged in an inviting manner when the lounge is quiet, and which turns into a chaotic maze, making it impossible to get to the bar when it's busy. There's plenty of food, with traditional Canadian dishes like pizza and pasta. Furnishings are by Canadian designers Brent Coomer from North Vancouver and Birchwood Furniture in Calgary, with a vague 1960s plywood vibe. There's buffet dining with Canada's signature wine wall, with bottles of wine just for show in a nice display cabinet. In an alcove is a heated island cabinet plus salad bar, and there's also a display kitchen, which makes up the 2 hot dishes of the day. But this is the difference between premium economy and business. Up the pointy end, you get to go upstairs, rather appropriately, with a full restaurant. Downstairs, you don't. The lounge really empties out once the Dublin, London and Frankfurt flights leave, plus those of other Star Alliance carriers. But I, like many other passengers, was getting a bit anxious about my flight. It should be leaving at 11 in the evening. But that's 2,300 hours, and the departure was getting later and later. Finally, just before 1 a.m, standing for almighty miracle, the catering truck arrived, and we were on our way. And there it is, premium economy, way better than real economy, which has a 31-inch pitch, a 333 layout, and a 17-inch width. It's very, very conventional. But no, Air Canada's premium economy has gone all out with a 19-inch width and a 38-inch pitch. So that's pretty standard as well. There's even an 11-inch video screen, and wow, even a small card with the menu for the next 16 hours.
Not too much longer. As we depart Vancouver, a little bit of light turbulence getting up to our cruising altitude. Expect generally good conditions most of the way, but there's a chance of getting good bumpy clouds. At some point, we do see the seatbelt sign. Come on, just return to your seats fast. Other than that, enjoy the flight on this night. Thank you for your patience.
Now, some airlines have maxed out their premium economy and treat it as business minus. However, Air Canada are having no truck with such luxuries and regard premium as economy plus a bit of extra space. And that's pretty much it on the 787. And there we go, heading out over the Pacific for our 16-hour trek. Now, I've been sampling premium economy in many different carriers, from Air New Zealand to United, Singapore and now Air Canada, to test how they stack up on the longest of long routes, which generally means a trek to the southern continent. Air Canada like to say that their economy travel is like travel like you've never experienced it before. Still, at least you get a premium economy amenity kit with a toothbrush and paste, plus socks and earplugs. And Air Canada, well, they offer sit-in-the-ear earbud type headphones. They're a single pin audio jack, so you can use your own, which I recommend. And look at that lovely, small, cute 11-inch video screen. It does the job, although the promised hundreds of hours of top-rated on-demand entertainment actually translates into a mid-ranking new release or two, plus lots and lots of box sets of American TV series you may not have heard of and probably don't want to. Dinner is served an hour into the flight, which, considering we took off so late, is now getting on for, well, it's nearly 2:30 in the morning. The options indeed were chicken or beef, with chicken breast with creamy leek sauce and roasted potatoes, or beef tenderloin with red wine sauce, polenta and vegetables. Presentation was severely lacking. Just look how it has been slopped around the bowl. But I've got to say, it was quite tasty. Better than I expected, which is probably damning it with faint praise. It was soft, tender and not overcooked. The unusual delight on the tray was a celeriac salad. This most unusual, unregarded and poetic of vegetables may not look like much in a greengrocer, but it was lovely tasting and, as the castle would call it, a credit to the airline. Metal cutlery as well, and all rounded off with a cappuccino cheesecake that I really couldn't fault. Less of a credit was the hot roll, which was so hard baked it could probably sink a duck at 20 paces. The woeful element was the wine. On the flight from Dublin, the crew took delight in serving business class wine, and indeed it's advertised in premium economy. Furthermore, it should be served in glass tumblers. But on this flight in premium economy, the crew said they just didn't have time for that. Yeah, on a 16-hour flight, and instead just offered red or white with plastic glasses and the same mini bottles as economy. The Sutter Home was definitely brewed down to the price, although the Carmen Red was somewhat better. And that pretty much summed up the crew as well, who after taking the tray with a "you're done," vanished for the next 14 hours. 6 hours into the flight, I went in search of what I'd been promised were snacks and nibbles available for premium economy. No, it turned out there was one person in the galley handing out beer, Molson Canadian lager, which wasn't too bad, and there was also a tray of pretzels in the galley, but the same ones you get in economy. It was the same for the halfway snack at 9 hours in. It was there, There was a chicken sandwich and a biscuit, and that was it, and that was what economy got as well. Now, the flight's so long, many passengers had managed to get a good 8 hours kip and woke up expecting breakfast around this point. Indeed, you could hear general murmurs around the cabin of, oh, when's breakfast? And generally you can expect this to turn up within the hour. No, you're actually going to be told it'll turn up 6 hours later. More wine was on offer, and I carried on my hunt for something decent to watch. Flight carried on in bright daylight, sun had finally caught up with us, and finally at the 14-hour mark, there was the promise of breakfast. Now, of course, premium economy proved to be anything but. The menu was identical to what you would get back in the cheap seats, and the options were crepe Florentine omelette or an oatmeal pancake. And after a quick trip to the bathroom to freshen up, I do like the loo with the view, by the way, it was time for breakfast. And, well, at least they feed you in premium economy. And more to my surprise, it was actually edible, mostly. There's the omelette with potatoes and a few meatballs sort of sprinkled around the sides. It may sound like not a lot, but when you've spent half a day already in a tin tube, it was just incredible, an event to be savoured. And look, there's even a little tub of fruit and a cold hard roll in plastic with butter, but of course no jam. And a paper coffee, the cup's paper, that is, although the same comment might also be said about the coffee. There's power at every seat as well, with mains and USB charging. And here we are, looping in over New South Wales in glorious sunshine. We made it, and the crew even cheered up enough at the sight of land and the possibility of getting off the plane to become almost chatty when we were on the ground. Now, would I recommend Air Canada Premium Economy? Well, the seats are bigger, although I do have to take Air Canada's advertising that there's ample room to stretch out with a large pinch of salt. And indeed, Air Canada say that they've got a next-generation entertainment system featuring your own personal touchscreen TV. Well, yeah, sure, but that's pretty standard nowadays. Most airlines have better headphones too in Premium Economy. The food is very little different to what you would get in economy, and indeed with the crew not really bothering to serve any different wine, it really shows that there are very few perks indeed in premium. But at least we got here, and I was very pleased to see Sydney and Circular Quay looked glorious in the sunshine.